Hello everyone, I hope you all had a wonderful Easter celebration and are actively honoring the commitments you made during Lent. Easter symbolizes joy and new beginnings, making it the perfect time to celebrate renewal and hope for a better future. Pope Francis wished for a better future for everyone. Unfortunately, he passed away last Monday, shortly after Easter, leaving behind a legacy marked by noble and profound aspirations. He was an exceptional leader who embodied the principles of Jesus, walking in his footsteps and serving as a guiding star. Let us honor his legacy by adopting and living his convictions in our daily lives. I encourage everyone to participate, regardless of their faith. Like Jesus, Pope Francis was a bold and outspoken advocate for truth. He fearlessly confronted deceit and hypocrisy, always ready to denounce injustices in the world. In this respect, he left us many powerful quotes that I will share soon. First, I would like to highlight a beautiful tribute to Pope Francis written by Daniel Gérard Rousier, an economist, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and non-fiction author. This tribute, shared with us by a devoted member of the 29ers, truly deserves our attention. I will now turn it over to Dr. G, who will read it. Mr. Rousier honored our Pope with this remarkable article, and it certainly merits our consideration.
Hello, everyone. I hope you all had an excellent Easter weekend. As Gigi mentioned, it is essential to find ways to honor the commitments made during Lent, especially now that our beloved guide, Pope Francis, is no longer with us. Pope Francis was an incredible leader who truly embodied Jesus' teachings and was a source of inspiration for many. He was celebrated for his profound yet accessible wisdom, and many will deeply feel his absence. As Gigi wisely pointed out, we have to honor his remarkable legacy through our actions. He left this world having made a profound and lasting mark on those who affectionately called him the Pope of the Poor. Let us, as a community, strive to continue his mission and embody the values he championed. Each one of us has a role to play in this, and together we can make a significant impact. His visits to prisons, refugee camps, and LGBTQ groups, as well as his assistance to those in need, exemplified how he treated everyone with dignity and respect. This is a principle we should all strive to advance in our interactions with one another. Daniel Gérard Rousier expressed this truth beautifully, and I am happy to present his powerful tribute to Pope Francis, also known as Jorge Bergoglio, his birth name. Here it is, the text from Mr. Rousier. Francis, the Pope who walked barefoot in the dust of the world. He did not have the thunderous voice of emperors nor the golden crozier of prelates who have forgotten the wood of the cross. He moved forward, weakened by illness, limping on his right foot, slightly hunched, his soul burdened by old fatigue, yet still standing. In his gaze passed in turn the stigmata of Assisi and the silent rage of a bishop from the south who had seen too much misery to still believe in the gilded halls of the Vatican. Jorge Bergoglio has died, and it is the world that weeps. But let us be clear, this morning, it is not the institution that I mourn. It is the man, the one who dared to say that the church was not a museum, that Christ was not a frozen icon, nor a ghost of incense, but a living being, a wanderer from our margins, a breath that needed to be tracked in the wounded flesh of the forgotten. Just yesterday, in his last Easter homily, he proclaimed to the crowd of nations this bare truth. We cannot make Jesus a hero of the past, nor can we lock him in a tomb. We must go out to seek him in our lives, on the faces of our brothers, in the everyday. And he had searched without cease or rest. He sought the undocumented, the shadows at the borders, those silhouettes concealed from the law, these nameless men and women whom he called the faces of God in exile. He embraced them, not from a throne, but on his knees in the mud of Lampedusa, where he let his heart beat like an offering. He asked for forgiveness for our silences, for our indifference. He sought the children disfigured by the church itself, those children who were violated in their silence by sacrilegious hands that nonetheless claimed to bless. And he said not to exonerate himself, but to answer the call of the just, truth before the institution, pain before scandal. His stance on these issues was not just about acknowledging the past, but ensuring that the Church's actions always prioritize truth and justice. He was not a protocol pope. He was a man standing amidst the ruins, a man who named the crimes and wept with the victims. He searched for our country, 1,000 times crucified, to which he sent his prayers like paper boats. In the secrecy of meetings, he often said, "Pray for Haiti, it is the wound and the promise of the world." He never forgot, especially not the countries that the great ones of this world had deliberately decided to forget. He carried them in his prayers like one carries pain in the palm, discreetly, obstinately, with that grave tenderness that makes no noise but saves. He sought the earth, not as a Garden of Eden to contemplate, but as a sister who is being suffocated. In Laudato Si, he brought ecology into the language of the prophets. He spoke of trees as a wounded lineage, of air as a stolen right. He gave the sky a voice, to water a memory, to dust a dignity. He rendered oxygen theological. Finally, he sought God amidst the turmoil, in the silence of widows, in the anger of youth, in the love of those who are unnamed, who are not invited to the table. He rejected the logic of palaces. He listened before condemning. He blessed before judging. He has always been a pastor before being a prince, a man before being a dogma. And now that he has fallen into silence, what is there to do but cry to the heavens, Santo subito? This phrase, which translates to sainthood now, is a testament to the impact Pope Francis had on the world and the desire for his legacy to be immediately recognized and celebrated. Yes, immediately, right now, let him be declared a saint. For he did not wait for death to live according to the Beatitudes. He walked in the footsteps of the Lamb with the poor, wept with the afflicted, and hungered and thirsted for justice. Let his name be written not on a stone, but in the memory of the peoples. Let it be engraved in the flesh of the world, and that, following his example, we take to the road again, barefoot but with ardent hearts. May his very, very beautiful soul rest in God. Gérard Daniel Rousier.
What a beautiful tribute. It is both powerful and true. We agree with Rousier. He should be declared a saint. Indeed, Pope Francis did not wait for death to live according to the Beatitudes. We are truly grateful to our friend Blaise for sharing this text with us, and we thank Daniel Gérard Rousier for his heartfelt homage to Pope Francis, which deserves to be shared. We take pride in owning two of his remarkable books, Mémoire du Fou and Praxis. They are essential reads. Now let's move on to the quotes we promised, which will help us better understand the personality of this noble figure. We should carry his memory in our hearts and actions by reflecting on some of his profound words. Here they are. You pray for the hungry, then you feed them. That's how prayer works.
The Lord never tires of forgiving. It is we who tire of asking for forgiveness. A little mercy makes the world less cold and more just.
The perfect family doesn't exist, nor is there a perfect husband or a perfect wife. A healthy family life requires frequent use of three phrases: may I, thank you, and I'm sorry.
To be saints is not a privilege for a few, but a vocation for everyone.
Migrants and refugees are not pawns on the chessboard of humanity. They are children, women, and men who share a legitimate desire for knowing and having, but above all, for being more.
Let us learn to live with kindness, to love everyone, even when they do not love us.
The world tells us to seek success, power, and money. God tells us to seek humility, service, and love.
Pope Francis has a talent for using simple and direct phrases, which have made him popular even among non-believers. Regarding poverty, he expressed a wish shortly after his election on March 16, 2013, stating, "How I wish for a church that is poor and for the poor."
On homosexuality, if a person is gay and seeks the Lord with goodwill, who am I to judge them? July 29, 2013, on the plane returning from Brazil.
Women. Women are like strawberries in a cake. We always need more of them. December 5th, 2014, in front of theologians.
Sleep-inducing prayer. I too, when I pray, sometimes fall asleep. October 31st, 2017, during a television interview.
Anti-anxiety medications. I do not take anti-anxiety medications. Italians give a good piece of advice. To live in peace, one needs a healthy dose of indifference. February 9th, 2017, in an interview.
Coprofilia. I believe the media must be clearer, more transparent, and not fall, excuse the expression, into coprophilia, always ready to spread scandals about abominable things, whatever the degree of truth may be. December 7, 2016, in an interview. Coprophilia refers to attraction to feces.
Mass without phones? It makes me so sad when I celebrate here in the square or in the basilica, and I see so many cell phones in the air. Not just parishioners, but also priests and even bishops. But please, Mass is not a show. Audience on November 8, 2017 in St. Peter's Square.
Courier diseases. The Pope presents a scathing catalogue of the 15 diseases that threaten the prelates of the Curia, such as spiritual Alzheimer's, mental and spiritual fossilization, a heart of stone, the terrorism of gossip, existential schizophrenia, false narcissism, accountant-style planning, rivalries for glory, funereal faces, the orchestra that plays out of tune. December 22, 2014, during wishes to the Curia, the government of the Church.
Old Europe, the impression given by the old continent is that of a grandmother, of an Europe that is no longer fertile and alive. November 25, 2014, in front of MEPS in Strasbourg.
Midlife Demon. When questioned by priests about the midlife crisis, Francis mentions the midlife demon. We have bad temptations at those times. One should not be ashamed of them, but must eradicate them immediately, and beware of childishness, the germ of a double life. February 17, 2018, during a meeting with clergy.
Rabbits. Some believe, excuse my terminology, that to be good Catholics they must act like rabbits. Openness to life is a condition of the sacrament of marriage, but that does not mean that Christians must have children in series. January 19, 2015, on the plane returning from the Philippines.
Punch. If a close friend speaks badly of my mother, he can expect a punch, and that is normal. One cannot provoke, one cannot insult the beliefs of others, and one cannot ridicule them. January 15, 2015, questioned about the freedom of expression of cartoonists just after the Charlie Hebdo attack in Paris.
Hitman. It's not fair to dispose of a human being, even a small one, to solve a problem. It's like resorting to a hitman to resolve an issue. October 10, 2018, in a hearing at St. Peter's Square.
White glove eugenics? In the last century, everyone was scandalized by what the Nazis did to ensure racial purity. Today we do the same thing with white gloves, declared the Pope, speaking of abortion in cases of fetal disability. June 16, 2018, receiving representatives of family associations at the Vatican.
Tinder? It's good for people to meet, it's normal, responds Francois, questioned by a young Spanish speaker about the dating app he appears to be discovering. In a documentary aired on the Disney Plus platform in April 2023, AFP. These quotes reflect his emphasis on mercy, humility, and compassion, which resonated deeply with people across faiths. Which of these speaks to you the most? We'd love to hear your thoughts.
This is a beautiful tribute to a leader who made history with his humility and commitment to the most vulnerable. Pope Francis left a legacy of reform and compassion, seeking to bring the Church closer to the realities of the modern world. His influence extended far beyond the borders of the Vatican, touching millions through his words and actions. His dedication to migrants, the poor, and the marginalized has been a cornerstone of his papacy. He also encouraged interfaith dialogue and took bold steps to modernize certain aspects of the Church. His passing marks the end of an era, but his message of brotherhood and love will remain etched in our hearts. That concludes this special episode, dear listeners and 29ers. Thank you for listening. May God bless each of us. May our beloved Pope Francis rest in peace, and may we cherish the profound impact he had on humanity and in our hearts.